This is the retrospective on the pilot of Smallville, affectionately named Pilot, which aired in the fall of 2001 and kicked off the first season of the show. And I figured, as I'm going to be getting into this retrospective, I'm going to be critical of it, certainly. There's a lot to kind of take a look at and analyze and be very critical of at times in the show. But I know for a fact that at certain points I'm going to try to broad stroke a lot of things with nostalgia. And so I figured what better way to kind of check me on that than to maybe share the pilot with someone who has never even seen the show. And for that I called upon Katie, who I co-host the One and Done podcast with over at anchor.fm/Katie-Michael for One and Done podcast. Hi.
Hi.
You saw her here for another DC thing. She was here for my review of Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, the Fantabulous.
Yes, Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey, Harley Quinn is Fantabulous or something. So, welcome back.
Thank you.
Let's get into
the pilot. Are you going to finally open that up?
Yeah.
All right,
I feel this is the time.
All right.
Let's talk.
I'm already one in, so let's do this.
Let's do it. So you'd never watched any Smallville before?
No, I didn't.
Were you at least aware of it when it was first being aired?
Maybe?
This is basically a Superman origin show. Did you have any preconceived notions or ideas going into the pilot of what you were going to see?
I mean, I did know, so this was like a CW joint, right?
CW, but before it was a CW.
It was the WB.
The WB,
That's
yes.
right, okay, yeah. So I think I knew, if I did know about it, see, it's hard to tell, like I can't remember, but I felt like when I heard about it, I knew it was probably going to be like teen Superman, like Superman before he's Superman. And so it's all like teen, like another like teen drama show, like Buffy and, you know, whatever else was on at the time, Dawson's Creek and stuff like that. But it was like...
Could you tell that's what they wanted?
Yes. Yes, I could. Especially with the actors all being like in their late 20s when they were supposed to be freshmen in high school.
A 7-foot-tall freshman.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Checks out.
Checks out. What are some kudos you would want to give this show?
I mean, off the bat, it's like the first 10 minutes are intense. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of things happening that are like, what? Wait, what? What? And it was a lot. It was a lot. Superman showing up to Smallville was a lot. Mm-hmm. And we're introduced to a whole bunch of characters. And then it seems to kind of calm down with school starting. But like the entire time where it was like, all right, now this is like high school, whatever the fuck, like in the back of my head, I'm like, but still, like, why was that guy like crucified in the middle of a cornfield? Like, like why was there a young teenage boy being sacrificed to the corn? Like, what was that? Can we go back to that? Because I have questions. Mm-hmm.
We do eventually get back to that, but yeah, it's sort of that's something that the showrunners definitely want to do. For starters, it's like, okay, so how do we make a weekly show about a kid growing up to be Superman not boring? It's like they're like, let's start off big. He doesn't just come down in a rocket ship in a cornfield and a kindly old couple find him. No, it's like he's got to come down in a violent maelstrom of
right, but
debris.
Also then like it's, you know. It was interesting that they decided to introduce all of the characters in that first, what would you say, 5-minute cold open?
It's about 5-10 or minute. Yeah, 5 or 10
So,
minutes.
like, we meet young Lex Luthor and his dad. We meet Martha and Jonathan. We meet Lana Lang. Like, all the main characters, minus, like, the two, like, beef-side friends, high school friends that we meet when he's like older.
Yeah.
But like we meet everybody right off the bat. Like there are no like slow introduction of characters. It's just like here's the cast. Like this is it.
We say this a lot on the podcast too. Like pilots, if ever, are never really representative of the show that eventually comes out of.
Yeah.
I mean, even though they propose, you know, here's what the show's going to be about. Eventually, like certain subplots or characters will take on a life of their own and become more developed than probably the pilot originally intended them to be. And it definitely feels like that here with this pilot, rewatching again, knowing where the show's going. Because, all the characters are introduced. There's a romantic subplot between Martha and Jonathan and Lana's aunt, who, what's her name? Nell, that's her name. And I told you while we were watching, it's like, guess how much romantic tension they build up between those three in the course of the show.
Yeah, because I said something, I was like, so she has the hots for him, right?
Yeah.
Afternoon, Nell.
Jonathan. Martha, what a surprise.
They established that in the pilot that she is smitten with Jonathan. And you know how much they come back to it? 0.5 maybe.
Oh my goodness.
It's never brought up again really in the show, or it's never brought up of any significance or importance.
Yeah, they throw in a lot in that first few minutes. Like, we learned that, Martha wants a face.
I see a little face. That's all I ever wanted.
A child face. And she's looking wistfully out of the truck window, wishing upon a star.
Yeah, she wants, because Lana's a fairy princess, and she wanted her wish granted, and so abracadabra, your wish is granted.
You get a face.
A little 3-year-old actress, or not even 3-year-old actress, a 5-year-old playing a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Because
no, she was way older than 3.
Yeah, Superman comes to Earth basically when he's a toddler. I mean, that checks.
That kid was not a toddler.
Yeah, but that checks for a lot of the lore. Is that for some of the lore, like in the '78 movie, he's launched out into space as a baby, but then he spends a lot of time in space, and Marlon Brando.
It takes a minute to get to Earth.
Yeah, Marlon Brando's tutoring him on tapes. And he grows up into a toddler, and then he crashes.
Like the Venture Brothers?
Yes, like the Venture Brothers.
Sorry, it's been a while since I've seen Superman. I didn't realize that there was, lessons on Earth or whatever.
Yes, exactly. No, absolutely. No, that is essentially what the original Superman spaceship was in the '78 movie, was one of the Venture education beds.
Okay.
Like, instead of Marlon Brando, it's just... Hello, Kal-El, it's time to get up. Yeah, so there's subplots galore. Jonathan and Martha Kent are youthed up a little bit.
Yeah, I know that actress. She's in things. I recognized her. I haven't looked it up yet, though, but... Annette
O'Toole.
Yeah.
She, actually, I told you this too, she played Lana Lang in the third Superman movie, the one where Superman gets really surly and drunk and is at a bar flicking peanuts off the bar at hyperspeed.
I don't think I've ever seen that Superman
before. You've never
seen
Superman 3?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh,
I actually don't have really any memories of I'm the one I remember the most of is Superman 1.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, Superman 3. I
think I saw Man of Steel in the movie theater.
Oh. This is tame compared to Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely. There's wholesale destruction. Meteors crashing.
Jesus.
Blows off.
This whole town gets annihilated.
Blows off Lex's luscious golden or orange hair when he's a kid.
Yeah. So Lex is a ginger. He's a soulless daywalker, and then all of his hair he's fine. His hair does not make it. He gets I feel like did I remember the scene right? Did a meteor come right at him, or was he trying to chase it away from it?
Here's what happened. He was wandering through the fake CGI cornfield.
Right. Oh my god, that CGI was so bad.
Then the CGI hasn't aged well. Then he hears the Scarecrow kid.
Right.
Calling out.
The child who's being severely hazed.
Yeah, severely hazed. He's help me. He sees him there, and then as he sees him there, a meteor just decides to crash right in the field, and he gets caught in its aftershock.
Okay.
And that's what blows his hair off, I guess. And it never grows back well into adulthood.
It was luscious hair, though.
It was very luscious hair.
Nice hair.
And there'll be a lot more that comes back to that. Because the Lex character, and you said this in the viewing, the Lex character was your favorite character?
He's great. That actor is very interesting. He plays Lex very well.
Michael Rosenbaum, and I mentioned this in the primer episode, he is by far the best part of this whole series.
He reminds me of the original actor who played Lex Luthor in the first Superman.
Gene Hackman?
Yeah, Gene Hackman. He does kind of do a Gene Hackman.
Okay, I can see that a little bit, yeah. He's got, well, especially because he's playing young Lex. And also, like, when people think of Lex Luthor, I feel they go immediately to, like, I'm so diabolical and above you. That type of, like, demeanor. And it's like, well, if you're adapting it and Lex Luthor's growing up in the early 2000s, he's just a punk kid. Well,
I mean, he's larger than life, and he has, like, a personality. And even, like, the... what was that actor's name again?
Michael Rosenbaum?
No, the one from the original movie.
Gene Hackman.
Yeah, Gene Hackman even plays, I feel like he doesn't necessarily play Lex Luthor as mwahahaha.
He's very casual.
He has a bombastic personality.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's got anger issues, too.
He also has anger issues.
He drives really fast. He throws swords at walls, or foils at walls, I guess, without seeing if there's anyone there.
Did Gene Hackman do that, too?
No. Oh. He hung out underground with a lady and a dude named Otis.
Checks out.
and his whole scheme was real estate.
Like his dad.
Yeah, his dad. Yeah.
Lex was established in the TV show.
Yeah, Lex's dad is kind of into real estate here.
Yeah, he's like a mogul. He buys up all the... It sounds like he showed up to this little farm town, bought everybody's land, put all the farmers out on their keister, and is now just making a shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm. But that's why Lex is here, is because he's running the fertilizer plant, the Luthor Corps fertilizer plant in Smallville.
Oh, fun.
And you find out, like, later on in the series, like, he's sent there basically to, like, his dad is his dad throughout his entire life apparently just tests him.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because when he was little and they were on the helicopter, he was like, you have to look. Open your eyes, damn it.
You have a destiny, Lex. You're never going to get anywhere with your eyes closed.
There's more with his dad, played by John Glover, who's a great actor, by the way.
Also has really awesome hair.
Awesome hair, too. It's fun, too, because as the series goes on, like, his hair becomes longer and longer, I think just to purposely, like, taunt Lex.
Oh,
like, at that point, he has, like, a lion's mane at one point. It's just like, okay, you're overcompensating now. But yeah, Lex is by far the best part of the show, and Michael Rosenbaum, I feel, is the best actor on the show. Because he kind of had, I don't know, Michael Rosenbaum, whenever I see him playing Lex, he always has kind of this knowing look. He's also a comedian, too, primarily.
Oh, okay.
So he kind of has this knowing look of, like, I'm going to take this too seriously. But but I like Lex in this because he's not muahaha evil. He's a kid with anger issues.
I mean, obviously he's a sociopath, but, like, he's, they do the things to make people like them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because that's the whole thing. He's like, be my friend, Clark.
You are my friend, Clark.
You are my friend, Clark.
Forever.
Because I hit you with my car. Even after that, even after we follow now Teen Clark, who was played by Tom Welling and is 7 feet tall.
What else is he in?
This is all he's really been known for. Like, this is like his first big gig.
Right.
He was in a couple of episodes of Judging Amy prior to this as sort of like a young love interest for the main character.
Okay.
And then before that he was like a model. So
he does have a nice face.
Yes, he has a very supermanly face.
Yes.
In a way. But then he didn't really do much after this. He became like a producer and director of some shows and things like that.
Okay.
He never really got out from under the Smallville shadow.
Oh. But I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
It was on for like 10 years?
Well, since 10 years. That's a steady run. Since he's the main character, though, what'd you think of him as a main character?
I mean, he was pretty boring.
That's kind of the staple of Clark throughout a lot of the show. Everyone else is kind of more interesting, and then things just kind of happen around him. Mm-hmm. Later on in the show, when he starts actually like taking a more active role as like, hey, I gotta become a hero, then that's when things do get a little bit more interesting. But still, even then, he's very like hesitant to do anything or to be proactive. So even though he feels responsible for all the bad stuff happening because he came to Earth in a meteor shower that he had no control over.
Yeah, that's really weird that he like has this guilt over the town's destruction.
It's very Catholic.
It's weird.
It's a very Catholic Superman.
I guess so. I guess he thinks he's like Daredevil or something.
Oh, don't get me wrong. They're gonna lean into the Jesus stuff more and more as the show goes on.
I don't have to watch any more of these.
No.
Okay, good.
He does the whole
Jesus hands
thing at one point. But yeah, I mean he's up on a cross in this episode.
Yeah, but so is that other kid.
Yeah, but I mean
that's really messed up that they still continued that like 80s hazing, like usually by eventually, you know, especially since like that kid died in the 80s. I mean, he got hit with a fucking meteor. You think that people would be like, you know what, maybe we should rein in this football player hazing that's been going on since someone died / nearly died, was sent to a hospital.
I chalk that negligence up to the fact that was a pretty busy day for everybody. There were probably a lot of dead people. Lana's parents got blown up next to their car.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's right. That's true. That's true. Still, like, that kid had parents, like...
Oh, yeah. He wasn't dead, though. They said he was, like, comatose for 12 years.
He ends up being one of the, like... he ends up being this... We'll call him the supernatural villain of the episode. Mm-hmm. And then you have, like... the normal, regular, degular villain, which is Lana's boyfriend.
Yeah, Whitney.
Lana is also boring. Whitney is also boring.
Yeah.
The three of them are very boring together.
It's a boring triangle.
Yeah.
Lana, unfortunately, doesn't get a lot to do ever in this show. I do appreciate that in the pilot they didn't just go to the trope of damsel in distress with her immediately. I am appreciative of that because, I'm appreciative of it now because guess what a majority of the first couple of seasons are?
Her being in trouble and
yeah.
Clark having to save her.
It's a lot of Lana being in trouble. So, yeah. I'm at least appreciative that the pilot doesn't immediately give that trope away. What would you say were the strongest moments of the pilot for you as a novice Smallville watcher?
I think the interactions between Clark and Lex were the most interesting, I'd say. Because, like, there's a lot of stuff happens. Like, they meet in a car accident.
Yep.
Like, Lex runs him over, like, runs off of a bridge into him. And then the scene in the house, mansion, estate.
The X-Men mansion.
The X-Men mansion. And, I feel like there was something else that I'm missing.
Well, he rescued him in the field.
Oh, that's right, the field, yeah. Oh, yeah, we should mention the whole, like, Kryptonite. Kryptonite is also a character in this pilot, so they really do introduce everyone.
Kryptonite's a character in the show.
Yeah, it's including the Kryptonite, like, second scene, really.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole setup is that the meteor shower was just meteors of Kryptonite that came down to Earth with the ship that carries little Superman, or little Kal-El, I guess. The whole premise of the show in these first couple of seasons is that Kryptonite is basically everywhere. Meteor rock, as they call it for the first couple of seasons, is everywhere. And so it's become like part of the town's economy. Like they used to be like the cream corn capital or something of the world, but now they're like the meteor capital of the world. So they fashion jewelry out of meteor fragments, and Lana has one of those meteor It's really weird. Like, I thought it was weird when I first saw it. Like, she has a piece of jewelry, a necklace fashioned out of, apparently, the meteor that slammed into her parents' car and killed them. As a keepsake, you know? Because you want to treasure that memory.
That's weird.
That's really weird.
But it's this big piece of green rock, and, like, obviously, I mean, if you're familiar with Superman, you know what that is, and, like, every time Clark tries to go talk to her, he turns into a bumbling idiot, and then you're like, oh wait, no, he's ill because she's wearing kryptonite. And then they do this really fun, like, switcheroo where, like, what's Lana's boyfriend's name again? Whitney ends up with it, and then that's how they're able to, it's basically like a plot device.
She gives him the necklace for homecoming because he's playing the big homecoming game, and she thinks it'll bring him luck because so much bad luck already came out of it that there can be only good luck left. But
I still don't understand why after he like strung Clark Kent up,
he gave him the necklace.
Yeah, why he put the necklace around his neck? That was really weird.
Well, because he's a big dumb jock, and big dumb jocks don't think.
No, I don't like that reason.
Maybe he just wanted to give Clark something nice.
No, I don't.
Seeing as how he's doing something terrible to him.
It was just weird. Like the show made that weird.
Well, if you have a problem with that,
what it made more sense if it just like the necklace had like a loose latch and then like he lost it. Like either he was wearing it or he just lost it while he was stringing Clark up, and so it fell like around him or like on him. That would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Him wearing it, like that was weird.
Yeah.
obviously he was supposed to give it back to Lana. They're at homecoming together, and she's like, so where's my GD necklace? Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I put it on Clark Kent's neck as I was stringing him up in the cornfield like a psychopath.
Hey, guess what? They actually do follow up on that in the next episode.
What?
She's like, hey, where's my necklace?
Oh, damn.
And so that leads into a whole thing.
Mm.
But
and then
yeah.
he was exited from the show.
Well, yeah, after a season.
Oh.
So yeah. They find a lot of contrived ways for Clark to be hampered by kryptonite, because otherwise the show's over in like 5 minutes, you know, if there isn't kryptonite.
When does he finally realize that kryptonite is the reason he gets sick?
Pretty quick. Like, I think the next episode he pretty much figures out, like oh crap.
When is Big Boy gonna put 2 and 2 together?
No, he puts it together pretty quick. Like, I literally think the next episode he figures out, like, oh crap, this stuff makes me sick. That's what's been going on with me. Like, he figures out, like, basically the premise of the show, which is that all these people showing up with weird powers and causing havoc most likely got their powers from kryptonite exposure. Because kryptonite, as you'll find out in the show, affects people in many different ways. It'll either turn you into an electrically charged dude that never ages, like it did to the Scarecrow kid in this one. It'll turn you into an arachnid boy. It will give you the power to see people's futures, and it can also be a fountain of youth, apparently. That's
immortality does seem to be a common thread of its effects on human beings.
Yeah, the kid shows up. The kid shows up, and they're like, he hasn't aged in 12 years.
Yeah.
Like, and again, like you mentioned, all the teenagers look like they're in their mid-20s anyway. Because it cracks me up that Clark is like, that's impossible. He would look like he's 26 now. I'm like, he does look like he's 26.
You know who else looks like they're 26?
You! Clark, you look like you're 26, honestly. But no, that's something that I found myself... I never noticed it before when I watched the show, but now I'm looking back and I just chuckle at it. Is like, Tom Welling is towering over everybody in this show. Everyone, all these other high school kids, I'm sure some of these background actors are actually like teenage.
They should have built a trench for him because he's so big.
Or everyone else is on apple cartons.
Yeah, apple cartons.
Well, especially like his friends, Pete and Chloe. You had a weird response to Chloe, and it wasn't because it's Allison Mack, but because she's a reporter. You were like, what?
So she's like a school reporter?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was just like, okay, so she's like the Lois Lane of the high school. Yeah.
Funny that, because this show wants to be Buffy. It really wants to be Buffy, and so they got to have sort of the Giles or the Willow of Buffy. And I know you haven't watched a lot of Buffy.
Wait, who's the Giles then?
Probably the Kents.
Really?
To some degree. Well, they're like his moral compass. They teach him the life lessons like, hey, don't accept fancy trucks.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just a life lesson you learn when you watch your friends get screwed over by rich people taking over your town.
Yeah, but I mean, that's why kind of...
I mean, his foster parents are basically socio-anarchists. Like, they just know. They're cool.
Them good old boys be socio-anarchists. Drinking. I do like that aspect of the show still, is that Clark isn't like the prim and proper, like diligent son that he usually is in the comics.
Is he in the comics? I didn't read any Superman comics.
In the old school comic, I mean, they've gussied him up a little bit in his past now and given him like, oh, he had a rebellious streak or something like that, you know, in his past. But like back in, you know, the golden age that everyone, you know, associates Superman with being a Boy Scout is like, well, he was raised to be a Boy Scout, basically.
Well, yeah, I mean,
but like,
it's the 50s.
Yeah, it was the 50s, but they've kind of done away with that like Clark has always been so wholesome in the show. Like, he's obviously going through teenage rebellion at the ripe old age of 26, but...
Is that what teenage rebellion looks like?
Maybe. If you have superpowers and you were just hit by a car, maybe that's what teenage rebellion looks like. I
guess your teenage temper tantrum is sticking your arm in a wood chipper to prove a point to your foster dad.
Well, I mean,
or to your not foster dad.
His adopted parents.
Yeah, adopted parents.
Because I guess they did adopt. Yeah, they do it. They go into it in a later show, in that they adopted him and how they had to go about doing that to not raise suspicions. That they just found this boy in a field. I still do like that line where the dad's like, are you okay? And he's like, can you ask me in like 5 years? Which is like I get it, because you're a teenager, so things will never be okay for you during this time.
Yep.
And you had the ultimate final word on this show, which was...
You'll have to remind me, because I have a very short memory.
This is so very a Mike show.
Oh. I get it. I know why you watched all 10 seasons. This is a Mike show.
I didn't know how to take that at first. I was like, okay. I see.
I mean, sorry, but not really.
Okay.
I probably would have liked it too. Like, maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
I definitely feel, because I was thinking about this for a while, is like, would this current generation of kids respond to this type of show now?
I mean, it does kind of remind me of what the CW is doing. Like, CW is still doing the same thing. It's just, like, darker. And by darker, I mean, like, the lighting is lower. You know, like, but it's basically the same.
Well, this is like the forebearer of everything that came later, like The Flash or Arrow or all the CW.
Batgirl.
And even that Superman and Lois show that you think looks good.
Did I say that?
Yeah, you said you said Superman and Lois looks good.
Burp there.
You said Superman and Lois actually looks kind of good when you saw the trailer. I remember this because I was like, okay, well, I'm showing you Smallville then. Just to kind of give you something to compare it to.
Okay.
Superman on TV. We can watch some Lois and Clark if you want.
Oh, Lois and Clark was my show. Before Dean Cain was crazy. He was cute.
What would be some predictions, not knowing at all where the show is going, what would be some long-term predictions you would throw out there for the show?
Long-term predictions?
Where do you think certain characters are going to be? Or what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I assume that eventually Lex Luthor goes evil. I think the reason why I enjoyed the acting between him and Clark Kent is because you have this understanding of what their ultimate future is, and so it's kind of interesting to see them kind of go back and forth. It's like, are they friends? Like, what's their relationship going to be like? And I assume that they're going to have this kind of like hot and cold relationship with each other, where like maybe they help each other out every so often. Maybe Lex does something that kind of pushes him more towards what he ends up being when he's an adult. Maybe he has moments of conscious, who knows? I don't know, but I can definitely see him kind of pulling back and forth between,
good and bad.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely like a chaotic neutral right now.
Oh, it's about the D&D.
Sorry, I can't help it. I guess, we saw that one room with the crazy wall, so I assume there's going to be...
The wall of weird, yeah.
The wall of weird, so I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of, antics with him and his, detective friend, and what's his name, and the three of them go around and solve mysteries. I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty close. After this, yeah, he does, because he does feel a sense of responsibility. Like we said, it's misplaced guilt and responsibility, I feel, but at the same time, he's like, okay, well, I have the power to do something. I'm gonna clean up the town.
I'm sure him and Lana, hook up every so often.
The big one, though. Will he ever become Superman? Tune in to find out.
The show is 10 seasons. I assume it's 10 seasons of him not being Superman yet. It's called Smallville. Am I wrong?
Until next time, everybody.
Oh, God.